What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon, and I am still waiting for my Satyr. And today we are talking about Monsters Among Us by Monica Rodden. I do want to give a brief warning for this book. Not everybody can read books like this. I, for one, really enjoy this type of genre, but there are definitely lines that, I myself cannot cross, especially with movies, especially with books. This book does deal with themes about rape. There is an underage girl who gets murdered. They are wondering what happened to her. There's a lot of things going on there, and it's very heavy. It's a pretty heavy read. I finished it and then I had to sit with it for about a week before I could talk about it. So, if that kind of stuff is triggering to you, you probably want to skip this book altogether. You'll probably want to skip this video. But I do want to say, I really love the story that Monica Rodden has crafted for us. This is about a girl named Catherine. She comes home after her first semester of college and she's miserable because she was raped at a party on the last day of the semester. She really doesn't remember anything about it. She just wakes up in a room that isn't hers. She's told to get out. She runs down the hallway. She notices she's bleeding. She's got bruises everywhere. She's completely traumatized. Her brain just physically cannot process anything. And I thought this book was gonna be about her story. She was gonna go back to school or something was gonna happen. We were gonna learn about these guys, but it's not about that. It's just that happened to Catherine and it changes the way that she views things. And it's really interesting because when you get to the end, you understand why it's not addressed as it is in other types of books about this type of subject matter. And that was really interesting to me. For a long time, I kind of thought that the story was meandering because she comes home, she meets a boy that she hasn't really interacted with since her childhood. She thinks she might, not go back to school, and then she decides she wants to go back to school, and it's all just kind of her thinking about things. But then her neighbor is found murdered and she wants to get to the bottom of it. She wants to find justice. Somebody else from her school comes back. He decides to help her. He's, in with the cops, that kind of thing. And this becomes the story of Catherine trying to get justice for this other girl who was murdered. And it's really interesting because you do get brief points of views from the two other guys in this book. You get to see kind of what's going on with them and their side of the story. And I didn't really understand why that was. I was okay, are we gonna see their monsters? Is this a book about the monsters that we encounter in life? And it is, to a certain extent. It is definitely about the monsters you meet along the way and how it's not your fault that you encountered a monster. People can't tell you it was something you did, it was something you were wearing, it was something, that you said. You encountered a monster on your path. You deserve to be believed, your story deserves to be heard, and it is yours. You decide how you want to respond, you decide how you want to react, and that's really what Catherine, I think, was learning in this book, is that she's taking this agency back for herself and kind of figuring out how she wants to deal with things by figuring out what happened to the girl next door. I really liked the climax of this book. I felt the pacing was a little bit slow, but then once we got into kind of third act territory, it really kicked into high gear, and suddenly all of the pieces fell into place, and it was so fascinating because suddenly every little thing that had happened in the book up until that point made sense. And I'm oh, this is why it was structured this way. This is why she gave us this. This is why these things were said. It really painted this really complex picture of life and these monsters we meet along the road of life, and I personally really enjoyed it. This book definitely won't be for everybody, even if it's not triggering to you. It's an interesting subject matter that I feel not everybody approaches in the same manner. I think this book did it really uniquely, and I really enjoyed that, and for those reasons I would recommend it. But it is a heavy read. Like I said, I had to sit with it for a long time before I was able to kind of sort my feelings out and talk about it, but it just was really fascinating, and I really enjoyed it, so I'm giving this book an A+. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit the like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to Talk Books with me every week. That is everything got for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!